Hey everyone! Today I want to talk about a crisis most people aren't even aware of. The American fast food industry is experiencing an unprecedented collapse. And this might be the first clear signal that the U.S. economy is heading into a deep recession. McDonald's, shocking numbers. Let's start with the most iconic brand, McDonald's. This chain that was once synonymous with speed, scale, and affordability is now facing empty parking lots, plummeting foot traffic, and prices that leave customers stunned. In a single quarter of 2025, nationwide customer traffic dropped 3.5%. If you strip out the fake boost from newly opened stores, the real decline hits 4%, the worst contraction in years. What's even scarier? This decline shows up across every metric: transaction counts, employee schedules, peak hour sales, weekly store performance. Even the temporary bump from limited-time promotions vanishes instantly because the financial pressure crushing consumers is structural, not seasonal. Price shock, the breaking point. For decades, McDonald's survived economic downturns because it occupied the bottom rung of the price ladder. That advantage is gone. The numbers are brutal. Restaurant dining inflation was 7.7% in 2022, 5.8% in 2023, and is still running above 3% in 2025. These percentages might look small, but in reality, they mean the cheapest combo meals now routinely top $9, and two people grabbing a quick bite easily spend over $22. When a meal that used to cost $5 now runs $12, the psychological contract between consumers and fast food instantly shatters. Affordability, the very foundation fast food was built on, no longer exists. Why are prices rising this fast? This isn't gradual, it's explosive. Labor costs, insurance, ingredients, transportation, and franchise fees are all skyrocketing simultaneously, backing restaurants into a corner where raising prices is the only way to survive. But the consumers they depend on simply can't absorb these increases. The impact on families is even more direct. When every extra dollar spent on rent, utilities, car payments, and insurance squeezes disposable income, seeing a drive-through bill approach $40 changes the calculation. Convenience is no longer worth that kind of financial hit. Consumers don't need to boycott these chains. The math does it for them. The customer base is disappearing. The real crisis isn't just menu inflation, it's that the customers the entire system depends on are vanishing. Low and middle-income Americans, once the backbone of fast food traffic, now face such severe financial pressure that discretionary spending has been slashed to bare necessities. When families reach this point, even a $9 meal becomes a financial decision that requires careful consideration. National financial indicators are deteriorating simultaneously. Rent is up over 30% since 2020. Auto insurance has jumped more than 20% in 2 years. Credit card balances have blown past $1.3 trillion. Delinquency rates are climbing at the fastest pace since the Great Depression. Every one of these pressures reduces the disposable income that used to flow to fast food restaurants. The most direct hit comes from SNAP benefit cuts. Over 42 million Americans rely on these benefits at some point during the year. Any reduction removes billions of dollars in monthly purchasing power from the nation's most price-sensitive households. Fast food chains have long depended on this group, especially during the end-of-month budget crunch. When this safety net contracts, traffic drops immediately, not gradually. The death of the dollar menu. The disappearance of the dollar menu isn't a marketing decision, it's an admission that the math behind American fast food has collapsed. For years, low-price items were the industry's anchor, drawing millions of customers and generating massive volume. But the economics that made $1 burgers possible have been destroyed by cost structures. Costs are rising faster than any operational innovation can keep up. The cost reality is harsh. Some states now mandate wages above $20 per hour, while others hover near $12. Beef prices are well above pre-2020 levels. Transportation costs have increased. Franchise insurance premiums are dramatically higher than 5 years ago. By the time a sandwich reaches the consumer, the combined cost of ingredients, wages, utilities, rent, and franchise fees can exceed $2, $3 before considering profit. That's why value menus have quietly morphed into $3, $4, even $5 items. Not because companies want to abandon affordability, but because the arithmetic of operating a restaurant in America no longer supports the pricing tier that defined fast food for generations. The franchisee nightmare. When the economics of low-price menus collapse, the first to feel the impact aren't corporate headquarters, it's the thousands of franchisees actually running America's fast food restaurants. Their numbers have become merciless. Labor regulations in many states push wages above $20 per hour. Commercial rent can exceed $10,000, $12,000 per month. Single location operating costs have spiked 25% above pre-pandemic levels. Franchisees are responsible for absorbing nearly all these costs. Meanwhile, the weakening customer base has removed the one mechanism that previously kept stores profitable: highly predictable volume. A 3 to 4% drop in daily transactions can wipe out an entire store's profit margin. Debt makes things more fragile. Many operators borrowed heavily to remodel restaurants, expand drive-through lanes, or meet corporate modernization requirements. With interest rates elevated, refinancing these loans can turn once viable stores into monthly losers. A store that generated steady income in 2019 might now struggle to break even, simply because financing costs have doubled. Industry-wide chain collapse. This pressure isn't isolated to one brand. It signals a broader decline sweeping through the entire American fast food industry. Data from competing chains shows synchronized drops. Wendy's traffic has fallen 612% in recent quarters. Burger King is down 312%. Jack in the Box reported an even steeper 7.7% decline. These aren't minor adjustments. They represent traffic erosion severe enough to destabilize entire store networks. The unexpected impact of GLP-1 drugs. Millions of American adults now using rapid weight loss medications are reducing overall calorie demand. For brands built on large portions, combo meals, and impulse purchases, even a modest appetite decline creates measurable revenue loss. The result is a structural reset in nationwide consumption that fast food chains can't counter with promotions or limited-time items. The deeper crisis: American household budget collapse. The decline sweeping through fast food chains isn't just a shift in tastes or preferences. It's the clearest reflection of the nationwide consumer base running out of financial room. Basic costs are climbing far faster than wages. Rent is up over 30% since 2020. Auto insurance has spiked more than 20% in 2 years. Credit card balances now exceed $1.3 trillion with interest rates above 20% APR. These aren't minor pressures. They're structural blows consuming the exact dollars Americans once used for fast food, casual dining, retail, and everyday conveniences. Weakening income security. Layoffs across logistics, retail, manufacturing, and white-collar sectors have pushed job stability to its weakest point since the pandemic. Even employed Americans feel the squeeze. Real wages remain flat while commuting. Childcare, health insurance premiums, and insurance deductibles absorb a larger share of income each month. A household that once had $200 in discretionary funds now might have $20 or nothing at all. Corporate survival mode. The financial pressure crushing American households doesn't stop at the consumer level. It's forcing businesses into survival postures that are reshaping the entire economy. UPS provides the clearest example. Over the past year, they've eliminated more than 48,000 positions, shut down 93 facilities, and replaced $45 per hour full-time drivers with gig workers earning roughly half that rate. These decisions aren't strategic experiments. They're consequences of domestic operating margins dropping from 14.2% a decade ago to just 6.3% today. FedEx mirrors this decline with margins squeezed to near 6%, signaling eroding profitability across what were once considered stable industries nationwide. This shift toward gig labor and automation isn't isolated. Industries across America are implementing similar strategies: cutting staff, reducing hours, consolidating locations, limiting benefits, and redirecting investment toward higher margin categories like healthcare, B2B logistics, or subscription-based services. The culmination of decades of accumulated problems. The corporate restructuring sweeping America didn't appear in a vacuum. It's the result of decades spent suppressing natural economic corrections. For over 40 years, America has relied on low interest rates, aggressive stimulus, and repeated interventions to prevent recessions from fully playing out. Every crisis was met with new credit, new liquidity, and new debt rather than letting imbalances clear. This strategy postponed pain but amplified consequences. Today, the bill for these choices is coming due all at once. The burden is now falling on households and businesses simultaneously. McDonald's as an economic indicator. The deterioration inside McDonald's matters far more than declining menu sales. McDonald's is deeply embedded in the structure of American consumer spending. Its model depends on frequency, affordability, and broad participation across income levels. When this company experiences sustained traffic decline, it reveals not just a shift in preferences, but a shift in the nation's financial capacity. Lost traffic, rising prices, and franchisee instability aren't isolated incidents. They're economic indicators disguised as business data. Consumer depression doesn't announce itself with a single dramatic moment. It begins quietly through millions of repeated small decisions. Fewer drive-through stops, delayed purchases, smaller orders, canceled meals. These reductions aggregate into nationwide contraction that first becomes visible in industries serving everyday Americans. Fast food is that industry, and McDonald's, with its ubiquity and dependence on volume, becomes the earliest and clearest warning signal of what's coming next. Final thoughts. The collapse of American fast food isn't an industry problem. It's a microcosm of structural failure across the entire consumer economy. When the cheapest, most accessible dining options can't sustain traffic, it means America's low and middle-income population is under unprecedented pressure. This isn't a cyclical slowdown, it's the erosion of purchasing power at the foundation of the American economy. When fast food's largest customer base loses financial capacity, no promotion, loyalty program, or temporary discount can offset structural decline. McDonald's empty parking lots, Wendy's traffic collapse, Burger King's shrinking profits. These are all different chapters of the same story. American consumers are running out of financial room. And this might just be the beginning. If you want to keep tracking what's really happening with the U.S. economy, remember to subscribe to the channel. If you found this analysis valuable, hit that like button and drop a comment sharing your thoughts on this crisis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.